there's really not a lot of instruction this month. It's more so some creative, you know, free flow, just however you want to do it, right? So I'm just going to walk you through very briefly how to do these things so that you can have some crafty success. But if you have any questions or you need any help or anything like that, do not hesitate to reach out to me. I just want to make sure that everyone is successful with this month's project. So it's January, so we are celebrating the new year. So this month's HU Crafty Club project is New Year, New Tears. So have you all seen these tiered trays that are super popular that you get to decorate? Well, this is our take on a tiered tray, okay? So you have 3 rounds here, and then these are what I'm calling trim rounds. To get started, the first project is to actually put the tray together. So before you put anything together, you have a decision to make. You need to decide if you're going to add these trim pieces. You also need to decide how tall, aka how many tiers you want in your tiered tray. So you can do 2 or 3, right? So if you do 2, I would recommend using the 2 larger circles. So this is a 10-inch circle and this is an 8-inch circle. I would use these 2 to make a 2-tiered tray. And if you want to go ahead and do 3, then that's when you add in the smaller one, and then you have a 3-tiered tray, right? The difference is the hardware. So you have the hardware here in the bag, and there's 3 levels here of hardware. So this is going to be the top piece no matter what you do, right? These 2 pieces are basically identical, okay? So if you're going to do 2 layers, then you only need 1 of these. If you're going to do 3 layers, then you're going to need both of these, okay? So first thing that you're going to do is, once you know how many layers and you know if you're going to use your rim pieces, you need to paint everything, okay? So you can put your hardware to the side. If you're painting, a couple things that are not included in the kit that's always helpful. You know, you want to cover your surface so that you don't get paint on your table. You probably want a cup of water for your paintbrushes. You're going to need a paintbrush. There's a foam brush in your kit that you can use to cover, you know, large areas. There's also a paintbrush, a larger paintbrush in there that you can use as well. So that preference is yours. And then I gave you 4 colors of paint to go along with the themes that we're working with. But if you have paint at home, feel free to pull your paint out, because you can make your tray any color that you want. That's actually another decision that you have to make. What color are you going to make your tray? So these pieces are made from MDF, okay? MDF. And so I've learned that MDF just loves paint. It just like soaks it up, right? And so you might need to put on 2 or 3 layers to get the color that you want to get, okay? After you put the paint on, if you're like, let it dry and you're like, oh, that looks great, then you can be done. If that's 1 layer, that's good for you. But you may have to put on a couple layers. I want my tray to be a brown. Yeah, I'm gonna go with brown. So whenever I open up new paint or use any paint, I always make sure I give it a good shake. I feel like my cheeks are going. Give it a good shake. You want to mix it up or whatever. And then I grab a paper plate, but I use whatever, you know, whatever I have, a piece of foil, a yogurt container. I'm going to use this as my paint palette. All right, so literally, I'm just going to paint these solid brown. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to paint my rounds, my solid rounds here. I'm going to paint them brown. And I'm still thinking about whether or not I'm going to use my rims. So I'm going to come back after painting whatever I decide to use and show you how to put this thing together, okay? And I mixed some white with my brown to make it a little bit lighter. I'm going to do that. So these are one coat and this is actually 3 coats. You see the difference side by side? I decided I really like how it looks with 1 coat, so I'm gonna stick with the 1 coat. So I only did 1 coat on the undersides. So you have to make sure you paint both sides because you will see the bottom of the 6 and the 8 inch. The 10 inch you won't see the bottom of that one, but I do recommend painting both sides. For the rims, you only need to paint the tops because you're gonna glue that down. All right, everyone, so we're back. We got everything painted up. One thing that I realized as I was painting is I wasn't super careful with my sides, and so I'm gonna see how it looks when I put it together. I may either go back in with the brown and paint both sides when I put them together and just paint the sides brown. I'll figure that out. That'll be my recommendation. Okay, so let's say that I want to put these on. What you're gonna do is you'll take your glue, your E6000 glue, you use the cap to open it. Okay. I'm just going to dab some all around my piece here. If you have a hot glue gun, you could use that instead, or you can use it together. Some people do E6000 and they mix the hot glue so that they can work with it, get the project finished, but it'll still dry and have this secure glue, right? This glue takes 24 hours to dry, but it's a permanent glue, whereas hot glue dries instantly, might not be as permanent. So at any rate, if you're going to put the rims on, literally I put the glue on the back. I'm just going to put my trim, right on top of the round, and then I'm going to just shift it and try to make sure that it is lined up on all sides. I'm just going to make sure it's lined up evenly. Okay, that's cute. And then you can use your clamps just to hold it in place while it dries. You're going to repeat this process for the 3. If you're doing 2 tiers, you'll do it for 2. If you're doing 3 tiers, you'll do it for all 3. But you're going to repeat this process, and then you're going to let this dry overnight. I want to show you how to put this thing together. So let's say, everything is finished, everything's on. You're ready to rock and roll, right? Let's just imagine. Go with me for a minute. Grab your hardware. And then you have washers. You have a bunch of white washers, a silver washer, and a screw, okay? You might want to grab a screwdriver for this, but you also might be able to do it without. So start with the base, which is the largest one here, right? We're going to start with this one. What I'm going to do is I have my screw here, right? I have my screw. I'm going to put the metal washer on that screw, and then I'm going to put one of these foam washers on also. Okay? And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it through the bottom, just like that, up to the top. Okay? And now I'm going to take another washer, foam washer, put that on, and I'm going to grab my first segment here of the hardware. I'm actually going to go ahead and put this down on the table because I find that holding it down on the table helps give it a little bit of pressure. And I'm just going to screw this right on top of the screw. So I'm holding this down on the table, I'm putting a little pressure on it with my fingers, and I'm screwing this on until I can't screw it anymore. And I remember, I can't just lift that up, right? Because I haven't glued that down. But yours is glued down, so you won't have that problem. Okay? For the next layer, you're going to do something similar. You're going to add this washer there. Then you're going to go ahead and add your next layer. Add another foam washer. And if you're doing 2 layers, this is where you go ahead and put that for 2 layers, okay? If you're doing your 3 layers, then you're going to add another one of these. And I'm doing the same thing. I'm putting a little bit of pressure. I'm holding this bar down. The first segment I put on, I'm holding that down and putting a little bit of pressure on that bottom shelf so that as I turn this, hopefully it won't turn with it. Okay? Voila. And then to finish it off, I add my last washer. I add my top piece. My final washer, my last washer and my final washer, y'all. And then holding the second one this time, I'm just going to go ahead and twist this. Okay, voila. So that is my tiered tray. Finish up our tray by adding some silicone bumpers or feet to the bottom of our tray. So you can either add 3 or 4 bumpers. If you do 3, I would just do, 1, 2, 3. So like a 2 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 6 o'clock situation. If you do 4, then you could do like 1 up here. You could do 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So I'm going to put 1 up here. So that's what your tiered tray would look like. 3 layers. I think it's cute. I think it's adorable. So that's everything that you need to know to put together your tiered tray. I hope you have lots of success, and once you get this all painted up, it is ready to decorate. If you don't like the matte color or you want to protect the surface a little bit more, you can cover it with a layer of sealer that's included in your kit. Just brush that sealer on everything and let it dry, and this will protect the paint and protect the wood. In your kits, you have different decorations. You have decorations for just like every day, things that are like family and home related. And then you have a set of decorations for Valentine's Day. So go ahead, paint those up and decorate them how you see fit, and then we'll come back and actually show you some ideas for putting your trays together.